Students, today's word is tradition. Tradition. You can say tradition. Stress on di. Tradition. Tradition. 3 syllables. And so this word is probably not going to be very difficult because it's very, very similar to the word in Spanish. You can translate it pretty directly. Tradition is in Spanish tradición. And the big thing to notice here, if you're as a Spanish speaker, is that there's a change in spelling. It's basically the same word, right? But in English, we have a T. In Spanish, we have a C. That's really common. A lot of words that in Spanish are ción, C-I-O-N, in English are often, that C changes to a T. And so it's T-I-O-N instead of C-I-O-N. And then another change that happens a lot is that the T-I is pronounced like SH, it's like shh. And T-I-O-N altogether is shun, shun. So tradition, tradition. And I know why is I-O pronounced like I can't explain that one. English is not logical. English is crazy, like I like to say to my students. That's the way it is. But T-I-O-N is pronounced shun. That is a pattern in English. So this word is pronounced tradition, tradition. And tradition is a noun, and it has only one meaning on your card. And the meaning on your card is a belief, custom, or way of doing something that has existed for a long time among a particular group of people, or a set of these beliefs or customs. So it can be one belief or custom, or it can refer to a group of more than one customs or beliefs that people have. And a big thing with tradition is has existed for a long time. So it's not something new. It's something that a group of people has been doing for a long time, over and over and over. So a lot of things in people's culture comes from this. So I mean, like holidays in any culture, U.S. holidays, holidays in Mexico, holidays in Central America, holidays in any country would be part of traditions. Food that people eat, music, clothes that they wear, all of those can be traditions if people have been using them or doing them for a long time in a group of people. Uh, so let's look at a sentence with this definition. So this is a sentence about Escuela Popular. So it says, celebrating Cesar Chavez Day by doing community service is a tradition that has been part of Escuela Popular since its founding days. So every year for Cesar Chavez Day, there are community service projects at Escuela Popular. Or in recent years, sometimes it has been combined with May 1st, and there's been a combined celebration for those 2 days. But it's still in honor of Cesar Chavez if it's on May 1st. So celebrating Cesar Chavez either on Cesar Chavez Day or on May 1st is a tradition. It's not something new. It's something that people at Escuela Popular have been doing since the beginning of the school. So that's why we can call it a tradition. And let's talk about, so we talked about the Spanish translation already. Let's look at the word families. So traditional describes if you're talking about a custom or a way of doing something, traditional describes it and says it's not new, it's the old way that people have always been doing. Non-traditional is the opposite of traditional. And so it's the opposite of traditional. So it means new, not the old way. The new way is the non-traditional way. A traditionalist is a person who believes that traditions are good, that we should not change things, that we should do things in the old way, the original way that a group of people has been doing for a long time. A person who believes that is called a traditionalist. Traditionally, you guys should probably know by now, right? In English 3, we tell you in a lot of these videos and we review it. Ly is an ending that makes a word into an adverb. In Spanish, it can be translated mente. So traditionally, tradicionalmente, and that means doing something in a traditional way, describing how somebody does something in action, saying that that thing is done, that action is done traditionally. Synonyms for tradition are convention and custom. And let's look here at the line to copy. This is the line that you would copy on the back of your card if you're making a card. This is a line using this word applied to English or English literature or something that we study in English class. So here, this sentence here is talking about poetry. So Q4 is a time when we learn about poetry in English class, in all of our English classes. And so we've talked about this when we discussed free verse. So it says here, it is an old tradition for the lines in poetry to rhyme, but modern free verse poetry doesn't usually have a rhyme scheme. So in older poems, the lines do rhyme. It is a tradition. It used to be true that lines in most poems rhymed, and that was a tradition. It was repeated. People would say, poems are always like that. They've always been like that. And but now, many modern poems do not follow the tradition. They are non-traditional, and they don't have a rhyme scheme, a pattern of rhyme like that. They're free verse, which was a big change. And so there was a famous quotation from a poet named Robert Frost. I don't know if I've told you this yet, but Robert Frost was a famous poet around the beginning of the 20th century, and he liked his poems to either rhyme, or if they didn't rhyme, they had to have meter. They had to have rhythm, like da-dun, 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 kind of like something like that, where poems have repeated stress patterns, rhythm. And so he said, writing a poem without rhyme or rhythm is like playing tennis without a net. He thought it was not a real good poem if it didn't have rhyme and rhythm, or rhyme or rhythm in it. But now that's an older tradition, and many poems do not rhyme and they do not have rhythm. So finally, we will end by going to this last activity. This is a classroom activity. If you're in class with your teacher, if we all hope that the coronavirus crisis passes and we will be back in class. So if we're back in class next year, this is something you could do with your classmates if you watch this video in class. And this is where you share with somebody else, and you would answer this question: what is a tradition that you celebrate or celebrated in your family or country? Or if you're at home, you can just think about this. This is a use of the word tradition. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.